Now, what we're actually doing is we're trying to figure out how do we calculate or come up with the equation of a circle. And when it comes right down to it, who can tell me the one characteristic of a circle that is always constant? Nobody? Well, yeah, it is 360 degrees if we go all the way around. But the defining idea of how big that makes the circle, I should have said, what's the constant characteristic that determines how big a circle is? It's the radius. So whatever this r is, the distance from the center to any point, it's the distance from the center of the circle to any point on the circle. And the symbol for circle is a circle with a dot in the inside. And the reason why there's a dot on the inside is so that we don't confuse it with what number? 0. Or what letter? O. Because a circle looks like a 0, a circle looks like an O. But in order to make sure that we know that we're dealing with a circle and not the letter O or the number 0, is we put a little dot in the center of it. Now, how do we calculate the distance between 2 points? Distance formula. So we're going to use a distance formula. And the distance formula is d is equal to the square root x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 quantity squared. And the distance formula it plays a huge part in your circle. Now, a couple different ways that you can do this. One way is you can take the 2 points that you're dealing with. And I've done this a few times where you make an XY chart, you put 1 point, 8, 9, you put the second point, and I put in parentheses 2, 4. And what does it say to do with the values? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Subtract. So what's 6 minus 2? Or, never mind, what's 8 minus 2? 6. What's 9 minus 4? 5. So this is x2 minus x1. This becomes y2 minus y1. And then all we have to do is take this and square it. What do we get? What's 6 squared? 36. What's 5 squared? 25. Now we could go to our distance formula. I already have x2 minus x1, and I squared it already. So I've already completed this entire part of it. So my distance formula now becomes this. 36 from the x's that we subtracted and then squared. 25 from the y's. So what's 25 plus 36? 61. 5 plus 6 is 11. Carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. Plus 3 is 6. So my distance, which is equal to my radius, is equal to the square root of 61. Now that's your exact answer. So if we're going through this, we get the exact answer. Now just to show you that you could do this if you like the formula and you're working great with the formula and everything's going good, you could have just said, well, my distance is going to be, I'll take my x, 8 minus 2 squared plus 9 minus 4 squared. So this is going to be a 6 squared plus a 5 squared. Same numbers, 36 and 25, and that's equal to the square root of 61. So yeah, you could have used the formula and just plugged and chugged inside the formula. What I've seen is some sloppiness when you start using formulas like this is you guys don't write the square root sign, you guys don't write the parentheses, you don't write the squared, and it doesn't follow along. So your attention to detail starts to disappear as long as you have to write this stuff. The thing is, in this particular subject, mathematics, you have to be particular to the details, or else things don't happen the way that you want them to. So you have to write the square root sign every single time. You have to write everything every single time. You guys don't want to do that. I'm not saying that you guys don't, but past experiences told me that that's where the biggest mistakes are. The square root sign disappears. The squares disappear. If this was 2 minus 6 and you got a negative 6, all of a sudden negative 6 times negative 6 becomes negative 36. But when you square a number, should you ever get a negative number? Never. Never ever. It's like the equivalent of me grading a test. You got nothing right, or you got nothing wrong, so I give you a 0. You guys would want to just pummel me if I did that. I'm not saying that I would want to pummel you if you mess up the square root. I'd just say, hey. But you get the idea. You got to do everything. Mathematics is all logic. And logic dictates that everything gets done the way that it's supposed to get done. So, for some reason, that video wasn't the best video ever. You can either subtract them like this, however you want to do it. Another way that you could have done this is create your right triangle. If this is a 2, this is an 8. How many spaces does it take from get to 2 to 8? Just do 8 minus 2, which is 6. What's 6 squared? 36. That's an 8. This is a 4. So if I'm going from, or this is 9 and that's 4, from 4 to 9, what's the length here? 5. So what's 5 squared? 25. So you get taken r squared is equal to 36 plus 25. R is going to be equal to the square root of 61. So you could have drawn the right triangle. As long as you make sure that when you're dealing with this, these are all your x values, and these are all your y values. So you could use the chart, figure that out, plug it into the equation, and get your answer. You could have just plugged it into the equation, get your answer. You could have drawn the right triangle. Use Pythagorean theorem, because that's all we got here. It's Pythagorean theorem.